told your friend you're not okay.
Hello everyone, welcome back to Top K-Pop, a place where every moment of K-pop feels more alive, closer, and more moving. If you think you've seen spectacular concerts before, get ready, because what happened in Goyang that night was more than just a show. It was a new legend born in the midst of a storm, a moment that even the heavens seemed unable to contain its magic. Since the afternoon, dark clouds had slowly gathered over the city of Goyang, as if the world was preparing to open a new chapter in Korean music history. The torrential rain that had fallen relentlessly since midday created a strange atmosphere around the stadium, cold, mysterious, and almost like the opening scene of an epic film. But for the tens of thousands of people packed into Goyang Stadium, the inclement weather wasn't a deterrent. It was a reminder that they were on the verge of a night that would be remembered for decades. As the stadium doors opened, the view was immediately filled with a sea of purple, blazing like tiny stars amidst the rain mist. The red accents adorning the stage looked like lines of fire, ready to ignite the crowd's energy. The fans, clad in thin raincoats, looked undaunted. Their bodies may have been drenched, but their hearts were burning. They knew this night was no ordinary concert. This was the opening of the ARIRANG World Tour, a 4-year wait finally coming true. Behind the majestic stage, the members of BTS prepared with a sense of uncertainty. After a long journey, individual struggles, and the most difficult times of their careers, these 7 souls had finally come together as one. And among them, Jungkook, the youngest member who had now grown into an unparalleled global icon, stood, breathing evenly, but filled with emotion. This night was about many things, but for Jungkook, it was a new step that felt like a homecoming. As the stage lights slowly dimmed, and the first rays of light penetrated the falling rain, the hysterical screams of the fans erupted, piercing the relentless sound of the rain. And amidst the mist, Jungkook emerged. His gaze was sharp yet warm, and his damp hair created a dramatic aura that no visual effects could replicate. He stood like a living fairy tale, a prince returning to his kingdom after a long war. The increasingly heavy rain seemed to become an added element to the night's choreography. Jungkook moved with full energy, as if the rain were just a small ornament beautifying the stage. There was no hesitation in each step, despite the slippery floor. Every movement of his body felt like a tribute to the thousands of hearts waiting for him. The camera repeatedly captured his eyes glistening, whether from rain or tears, as he gazed at the sea of light sticks that filled the entire stadium. For Jungkook, this wasn't just a sight, it was a dream that once seemed impossible to achieve. As the opening songs echoed and the atmosphere reached an emotional peak, time seemed to stop as Body to Body, the latest song many fans had been waiting for, began to play. Jungkook took over the stage with his steady, captivating vocals despite the frigid night temperature. His choreography was intense, rhythmic, and charismatic, as if the energy he exuded was hotter than the storm above them. The audience was stunned, almost hypnotized, and many cried not from the cold, but from the beauty of the moment. In the crowd, several fans were seen wearing hanbok, a symbol of respect for the cultural elements that underpinned the ARIRANG album. Jungkook, realizing this, made several gestures of respect, bowing slightly and smiling, assuring that his love and respect were reciprocated. An international fan who has followed BTS since 2014 called the moment a miracle. After all this time, seeing Jungkook standing back with the other 6 members was like being given a second chance at life. Jungkook was no longer a shy, teenage boy. He was now an ambassador for South Korean culture, a symbol of courage, and a figure who shouldered heavy responsibilities with the elegance that only a true star possesses. Even though the stage was wet and slippery, Jungkook remained flawless. He occasionally wiped rainwater from his face, then smiled broadly at the camera, sending a warm energy that spread throughout the stadium. His enthusiastic aura was like a small flame piercing the chill of the night. The entire venue felt alive. When classic BTS songs began to play, the sense of nostalgia that permeated the stadium was so strong that it felt as if everyone was transported back to the beginning of their journey. Jungkook seemed to be enjoying every second of the reunion, often hugging the other members center stage. The chemistry, once separated by time, was once again clear and strong. Jungkook remained standing in the center of the stage, letting the rain soak his body, which had never truly dried. But this time, his gaze was different. There was a new warmth, a growing maturity, and a pride he didn't hide. He stared at the seats still full even though the concert was over, as if he wanted to engrave each fan's face into his heart. The other members then approached him one by one, patting him on the back, embracing each other, and chuckling even as their breaths continued to rise. On their faces, relief mixed with euphoria. They knew what had just happened wasn't just a tour opening. It was a statement to the world that BTS wasn't just back. They were back with renewed strength. The rain fell more slowly, as if it were sharing the warmth of the reunion of 7 individuals who had been called a global phenomenon millions of times. There was a strange magic that night, as if even nature itself was bowing in respect to their journey. Jungkook then lowered the microphone, but before leaving the stage, he glanced once more toward the upper stands, where the purple light still gently shimmered. With a tiny but meaningful smile, he spoke words that were almost drowned out by the sound of the rain. "We'll meet again tomorrow, and every day after that." And it was true, that night wasn't the end. It was just the first page of the ARIRANG Tour, a global journey that would take them to giant stages around the world. But what happened in Goyang remained the centerpiece, an inimitable icon, a symbol of the beginning of a legend's revival. As the fans slowly left the stadium, they continued to sing along to the song Jungkook had just performed. The sound echoed through the concrete hallways and parking lot, forming a giant harmony that neither rain nor cold could dampen. Even after the clock struck midnight, several groups of fans lingered outside the stadium, waiting a moment longer to ensure the memories of that night truly sunk in. Meanwhile, backstage, Jungkook sat for a moment, staring at his hands, still trembling with adrenaline. He recalled the flash of the light stick, the cheers that shook the ground, and the moment when he realized that his entire long journey, the doubts, the struggles, the pressure, had led him to exactly that point. To the point where his dedication was reunited with the boundless love of millions of fans. The staff approached, handing him towels and warm drinks. But Jungkook only smiled and shook his head slowly, still unable to shake the overwhelming feeling that filled him. He knew that whatever he did next, whatever city they visited, tonight's energy would be the fuel that carried him further than ever. Outside, the sound of thousands of fans still singing could be faintly heard. Jungkook rose from his seat, approached the large curtain that covered the side of the stage, and peered out. The rain had turned to a fine drizzle, and the purple light still flickered, unquenched, unabated, unfazed. He smiled to himself, muttering softly, "If this is how it goes, I'll never get tired." As the black van carrying the members began to leave the stadium, thousands of fans followed with soft cheers and loving waves. Jungkook, sitting in a chair by the window, lowered the window slightly just to get a better look at the faces. They were wet, tired, but smiling brightly like the morning sun. It was there that Jungkook felt something profound. That Goyang night wasn't just an opening concert. It was proof that the love between BTS and ARMY has never wavered, even after 4 years separated by distance, time, and various challenges. And this journey has only just begun. Ahead, there are dozens of cities, millions of steps, a sea of new lights, and another history waiting to be created. But whatever happens next, one thing is certain. The sparkling rain of Goyang night will forever be the foundation of BTS's new era. The ARIRANG era. The era of the revival of 7 legends. The era where Jungkook, the Maknae and pillar, stood tall against the rain, the storm, and the world.
If you're sticking by my side, maybe we could be okay, maybe